Mars, then we'll be able to respond to certain fundamental questions about where we've come from, where we're going in the universe. There are various atmospheric and liquids-based questions that have to be responded. These are the two objectives. And so these are the results that we hope to be able to come up with through our mission. And the observation of the Earth on a permanent basis that you've been involved in, which is inspiring, it's very shared. Do you see any consequences of instability in the climate? Are you able to see any indications on a daily basis? Unfortunately, yes, Mr. President. We can see distinctly and clearly when we take a look through the space station port. What I've been able to see is the fragility of the Earth. It's shocking. It's a little bit sensory feeling to see that we're a limited, a isolated oasis with limited resources, but we can also see the negative effects of human activity, pollution, the rivers, atmospheric pollution. We see things of that nature. We're really shocked during this mission to see the meteorological and climatic phenomena of an extreme nature, fires of an enormous parts of the Earth. In Canada, California, it seemed that, well, all of California was covered with smoke, and we could see the flames from here, 400 kilometers of altitude, also in the south of France and Greece and the European Mediterranean basin. We can also see the sad spectacle of tropical storms. We have the impression that they're linked in a chain that is very impressive from the space station. But once that had passed, we knew that they'd created damages, destructive damages. It's very impressive. We know that these phenomena are accelerated in terms of force and intensity by climate change. This is a vision which is very human view. There's a sentimental view. I direct my photographic apparatus to be able to capture what is beautiful, but we also have to complement that with the very scientific view from our space observation center in order to be able to validate, produce valid data regarding meteorological phenomena related to climate change. And so in any manner, so have you changed objectives of your mission compared to the last mission? Yes, we have seen, unfortunately, the phenomena such as the melting of the ice sheets, which we can see over from space over a extended period, 4 to 5 years. I can see it. And there is, of course, there are cycles in it, but we look at the long-term trends, long-term curve, and we can see that from the space station. What we've really been able to see, I think, is these meteorological phenomena, which are accelerating in a worrisome degree. And so we know that there is an increased temperature on the Earth, but we know that we're beating records regarding conflagrations and tempests and storms. And this is very different from the mission that I participated in 4 or 5 years ago. Unfortunately, you're documenting certain pessimism. I'm an optimism, willfully an optimist, I can tell you. But today, unfortunately, we see the consequences on a daily basis over the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, the Pacific, North America. Yes, absolutely. And this sort of makes you feel sad about that. I think of the coral reefs, those that are barely above the sea level, which we can see very clearly from the space station. We hope, as you say, that we'll be able to take measures that will affect to make the planet remain habitable for everybody for years and generations and centuries. You know, Thomas, in any case, unfortunately, we have to see that in certain regions, the consequences are already visible. We have to resist, to protect, to adapt, and to prevent uh, the developments. We have to accelerate the measures that we take, and that's partly one of the objectives of this stage, which we can do at a national basis and also on a regional basis. And these are steps that there's a lot of enormous work ahead of us, uh, but with this will to accelerate our efforts. As you look around a little bit, the work that you're doing, that as it has evolved over 5 years, but also the exploration, but also the whole set of work within space. So where do you think France should plan for the next 10 to 15 years? Well, I think there's a chance for we should have an ambition which is uh, elevated and large, a little bit the past and the present of France within space. We are the leading economy of Europe in space sense, so that Europe is a space power. We have contributed enormously to the change regarding changes in the climate, responses to climate changes, natural changes, and also the condition of people across the planet. So we have seen how Spain can be of great assistance to us in the future. We have to increase our utilization of space in Europe. We have all of the assets to use. We are world leaders in space. We must have the corresponding ambition to be a leader also over a 10 to 15 year horizon regarding all the problems that we've listed that have presented themselves. I share your view. Also, with regard to young people, we've spoken to them about this regarding also what you've done so that young people can enroll themselves in programs to familiarize themselves with these programs and to amend our education in this regard with France over certain time periods in the future so that we can be face up to the challenges that present themselves. And Europe undoubtedly is the leading space power. We have, of course, competition with China, America, Russia. We also have competition with the private sectors, which completely changes the organization of space. When in terms of what is most publicized, there's also a domain, a space domain, which is increasingly facing new problems in terms of competition and also rules that have to be defined. In France, I think we can still say today is a very major space nation, etc. But also within 30 years, the problem is to greatly improve the services in the observation of the climate, the connectivity, especially everything that has to do with navigation over worldwide coverage. And we Europeans also, with our partners, need to develop these services in the use of data. And so to be able to, this is the first act. Well, the second act for us is an evolution of France's historic role through Ariane Espace and the partnership, the intimate partnership with our fellows with very strong emerging partners, with companies that are coming out of the laboratory to do public and private related insurance research. And the idea is to continue to innovate and to have this desire and this will by 2025, 2026 to be using reusable resources. And you have indicated our desire to be able to launch and to participate also in the major exploratory missions to the moon and to Mars. These very large projects are at the limits and the frontiers, technological and human frontiers. But every time we learn exceptional information regarding matter, material, the balance of our ecosystem in the service of our planet. I think that it's a overall framework which it seems to me is absolutely judiciously all of these applications that we do within the space station. We have a very strong, if I may say, to land. This is research related to everyday life for applications on the one hand. On the other are those inspirational activities that we're involved in to help people to change, to bring people along with us. We need that. We need these missions which a little bit push and pull people, everybody, to the greatest excellence, so as to be able to respond to societal needs, also in terms of political consequences. And so from the two sides, we are impelled, the French and the European space stations, the International Space Station, all of this presents us, of course, we're always on the international level in our efforts. And this is what we really need, which enables us to retain France's place and to do even better. And this is what inspires us. The objective, in effect, regarding everything that, in addition to what all we know, this European plan, we will see if things can accelerate. And if we have to be able to adhere to this program, I think it's absolutely essential. I'm convinced that on the one hand, there's a great deal of industrial and economic and scientific basis for it, but also on the other hand, climate and new materials, evidently, the knowledge which will enable us to engage in research will enable us to be able to, of course, the sentiment involved is, I think, above everything, a sense of adventure. Yes, I agree with you. When we see it from a historical perspective, 50, 60, 70 years that we've been in space, it's almost nothing at all in the global and human timescale. We must not doubt that within 50 to 100 years we'll return. Everything will be very different, very connected, with applications we cannot even imagine at this time. We have to position ourselves in this regard. This is the manner in which I am working as a scientist, as an engineer, as an astronaut. This work that we can do through the various agencies to make, contribute to an improved future for everybody. And this is how we live. This is how we conceive the mission. And so at the end, we risk our lives a little bit to go into space. We're happy to see, I'm happy to see, hear these words from you. And I hope that we can attain these objectives, which in any cases are very good ones. Thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you. We are arriving at the end of our connection. I'd like to thank you and the team that has enabled this contact between us. I do not forget that a few weeks after having been elected, I brought you, I was able to welcome you back to the surface of the Earth. It was very difficult physically for you. During this period, I was very happy to be connected with you. And now you're back up there, shall we say. And I'd like to thank you again, because every day you give your time and your energy, and you take risks, as you mentioned, to continue the space adventure on this French, European, and world scale. And this is also very inspiring to us. And so this is essential to our future progress. And so we're looking forward to a desirable future. And all, in addition, you're bringing this inspiration and this implementation of the dream. And once again, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's very important to be able to bring people with us in this adventure to inspire them. I remember when I was young that I was inspired that way, and that's why I also want to share the mission. It's an honor to have you aboard the space station today. And in effect, I remember when we spoke, perhaps upon our return, to be able to do it a little bit differently, perhaps landing on Earth, rather in the water. Well, we shall make an appointment for the future adventures in the space domain on this French and European level. And so we're hoping that this will, I have no intention personally to stop at that point. So again, once again, Thomas, and thanks you so much for your time and for everything else. Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks very much.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to the French President. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.
We are just a bit under 15 minutes until the International Space Station will see Progress arrive in its vicinity for the beginning of Progress's fly around. Again, a 114-degree maneuver by the Progress, all automated, to precisely align its forward docking probe, I should say, with the aft docking port of the Zvezda service module. That fly around will take about 10 minutes to complete, putting the Progress about 150 meters or so behind the aft port of the Zvezda service module for a moment or two of station keeping, allowing the Russian flight controllers to monitor its alignment to that docking port on Zvezda before the command is given for final approach to be initiated. At that point, it will take just a few minutes for the Progress to move in for contact and capture at a very slow speed of about 1/10 of a meter per second. Progress closing at the expected rate of about 1/10 of a meter per second.
Meters. The target is in the center. The
5 meters now, standing by for contact and capture.
The range is 1 meter. Copy. The crosshairs are aligned, and the target is in the center.
Contact confirmed.
Mechanical contact.
And capture confirmed at 8:31 p.m. Central Time, 9:31 p.m. Eastern Time.
And
as Progress and the International Space Station flew 258 miles over Argentina, just south of Buenos Aires.
Now, please deactivate Toru on our go after probe retraction. Copy.
The docking probe on the Progress now retracting. That will bring the Progress docking surface flush with the aft port of the Zvezda service module to initiate the closing of the hooks. It doesn't get much smoother than that. A flawless ride from launch pad in Baikonur to docking at the International Space Station. Contact and capture docking occurring at 8:31 p.m. Central Time, 9:31 p.m. Eastern Time. Another 3 tons of food, fuel, and supplies being delivered to the International Space Station.
Station Houston, are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, I am ready for the event.
JAXA PAO, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call the space station for a voice check.
Thank you, Houston. Station, this is JAXA PAO. How do you hear me?
JAXA PAO, I hear you loud and clear.
Hi, Hoshide-san.
Hello, Mr. Hoshide. I am Kishi, manager of JAXA headquarters PAO. Now we would like to start the press conference. So at the beginning, Mr. Hoshide, would you like to say a few words?
はい、ありがとうございます。皆さん、今日はお集まりいただきましてありがとうございます。
Thank you very much. Everyone, thank you very much for gathering today. I am JAXA astronaut Aki Hoshide. I'm here at the Japan Experiment Module of ISS. And this is my third flight to ISS, and I had spent 6 months here, and the end is coming close to this day. So when I look back for the last 6 months, and especially the first 5 months I had served as a commander of ISS. So when I look back, I think of various things that had happened. I had EVA, and the new Russian module came, and various spacecraft came and went. And also there have been many experiments, science conducted, and 7 people here at the ISS, and also collaborated with the control team located in different parts of the world. And we had achieved quite a lot of things, I believe. And in a few days, we are going to go back down to the Earth. And I already feel missing this place. And but I would like to make sure that we'll do the best of the good work here, so that that will be passed on to the next members that are coming to the ISS. Thank you very much.
So we'd like to move to the first question. I'm One from Sankei Shimbun. You completed a mission as the second Japanese commander of the station. What was the most memorable experience, and also what was the most difficult for you, and also the most important thing for you to create a strong teamwork among the crews as one team? Thank you for your question. So I served as the station commander for 5 months, but we had a division of labor among the crew members. So each crew member had her own task to do. We encountered many unexpected things, but we worked together, and we knew what we should do, and each one of us could carry out our own task. So I just divided work among the crew members, and I just left it up to the experienced crew members, and each one of us was aware of what we should do. So rather than as a commander of the station, I have a very good memory of laughing together, having meals together, working together. In various occasions, we smiled and laughed and had a very enjoyable time together. As a commander of the station, I try to have a smooth communication among ourselves, among crew members, and also the communication between the crew and the people on the ground, on the earth. We try to have a good exchange of opinions. I try to create such an environment, good working environment. And that was the thing that I wanted to do it smoothly as a commander.
So in the 6 months of a long duration stay, you had the theme of you can realize a dream. So what was the most impressive thing? What was something that you felt achievement? And also in the 4 times of EVA, you had the longest hours of doing EVA as a Japanese. So would you share your thoughts on that? Thank you for that question. Yes. Regarding EVA, I had my 4th EVA, and I understand that's the longest among the Japanese, but it's when we look at the record of all the EVA and the record in the world, people have great skills and accomplishment that each of those astronauts did. So it just happened to be the 4th time for myself. So But of course, I believe that people would break the record. And if I were to do my next EVA, I would break my record. And also, if the new astronaut of Japanese to do more EVA, that's also a good thing. And in this mission, could you repeat your first question? So during your long duration mission, you had the theme of you can realize your dream. So what was the most impressive? What did you have the biggest impression as a memory in that theme? Thank you. So I had the theme of you can realize your dream, and I myself had a dream of coming to the space, and I had realized that dream 3 times. And in those 3 times of coming to ISS, and if I just take the example of Japan experiment module, I can see that this is evolving because in my first flight, I had the role of assembling this Japan experiment module, so it was brand new. And then the second time, I could see that it was being well utilized. And this time, I can see that it's very well, heavily utilized. Therefore, Kibo, Japan Experiment Module, and also International Space Station, I think those are the treasure of humanity, and those are being well utilized in order to realize the dream of the whole humanity. And among those activities that are conducted on ISS, there are various experiments, science, and also engineering demonstration and upgrading. So all of those tasks conducted by teams and people, those are really the realization of dreams for different people. And I believe that we are helping for those people's dream to come true. Thank you.
During your stay in space, commercial space travel agencies succeeded in test flights. Russian actors went to the station for film shooting. How do you feel about the growth of space business and the dawn of the new era where private citizens go into space? How do you want children to feel about that?
はい。そうですね。多くの民間の会社が今宇宙に進出しようと頑張っていますので、少しずつ
Many private
進していって、
commercial companies are trying to go into space, and I hope that they make a progress.
SpaceX 社が
Um,
民間の宇宙船
the Crew-2 we used was developed by SpaceX, a commercial spaceship
民間の
by a company of the United States. So I feel that we are now entering the new era.
それだけ
Private
チャンスが
companies
一般の方々
are
に広がって
making inroads into space. That means that there are more opportunities on the Earth spreading to the various people.
一人として
So in that sense,
歓迎すべきだと思いますし、
as a person
宇宙飛行士だけでは
playing role in the space field, I think it's quite a good thing that I welcome such trend, and I hope more people
合致した動きじゃないかな
to experience the space and create a new culture.
ありがとうございます。続いて、電波新聞社の
Thank you very much. My name is Yamamoto of Denpa Shimbun.
先ほどの質問と少し変わ
So this may be similar to the earlier question, but there's digitalization is advancing globally in space arena. On the other hand, because of the pandemic situation, there's a carbon neutral movement or prevention of global warming is attracting interest of the people, and the conference is now planned shortly for the leaders to come together. So for the ISS, I believe that there would be various experiments conducted in relation to the digitalization. So did you have opportunity to rethink about the digitalization during your stay?
はい、ありがとうございます。そうですね、デジタル化っていう側面で言いますと、やはり、だいぶ
Thank you for the question. Yes, in terms of digitalization, yes, things have changed a lot because the ground technology have advanced a lot, and we are also
そういったものは全部電子化されて
taking advantage of that development. For example, the manuals and schedules, those are all electronically made. Those used to be PC, only on laptop PC, but now we can use a tablet. And also the internet environment in ISS have improved a lot because the more speedy connection on the ground and the more volume capability. So our internet have also been upgraded. So just like hand in hand with the capability of ground. So we are now
それからそうですね、
well using those internet. So that is also connected to the infrastructure improvement. And in relation to environment, when I look out down to the earth,
有限なんですよね。地球という
so what looked like
場所にしか
infinite when you are
外に
in the space,
まあ進
you see that it is very clear that the atmosphere is very limited because if you go out of that atmosphere, it's
やはり
the vacant space, and I can really feel it at heart. And when we look inside the ISS, we have to be self-sustained. For example, air, water, those have to be recycled, circulated, and that kind of skill would be further needed if we are to go to Moon and Mars. So demonstration of those technologies are being made at the moment at the ISS as well. And that kind of technology is to be advanced, and then we would be able to contribute to what's happening to the Earth.
I'm Hayashi, freelance writer. As a commander of the station, how did you overcome unexpected event? For example, at the end of July, a Russian experiment module was docked with the station, and that caused the ISS to rotate 1.5 round. What was the situation inside the station, and how did you feel at that time?
はい、ありがとうございます。そうですね、ロシアの新しいモジュールがドッキングした直後に、
Thank you for your question. Yes, a new Russian experiment module was docked. After the docking, the station lost the control of its attitude. Of course, we had such training on the Earth in expectation of such event, but we never experienced such event until that time. So we worked together with a team on the ground to overcome this problem. The control team of the ground gave us instructions, but when we lose a control of its attitude, sometimes we lose a communication link with the Earth. So we had a very close communications closely, and we checked that we have completed the procedures to this point, and the next time we have to go through such procedures. So we had a very close communication, and as a team, all of the members of the team responded to this problem. Each of us was aware of what we should do. So I was kind of the coordinating made an overall coordination in that event.
I am Hatanaka of Nippon Broadcasting System. So I see Kibo after some time, and I can see that it is a working environment. Mr. Hoshida, you said that remaining mission, but you have 1 week before you depart ISS. Are there anything that you fail to realize
はい、そうですね。
that you still want to do?
残ってる仕事をしっかり片付けたいということと、
Well,
クルーが到着した時にですね、きちんと
I have to do all the remaining work,
野口飛行士
and I have to prepare the environment and for the next crews that are coming.
スムーズに
So before me, Mr. Noguchi was here, and he had a good handover to myself. That way, I could start my work very smoothly. So I would like to do the same. So I would like to do the handover in detail, such as the living on International Space Station, and also the work and experiment to be conducted in Japan Experiment Module.
Une from Sankei Shimbun. I would like to ask you about the station getting obsolete. The assembly of the station started in orbit in 1998, and the station has been in operation for more than 20 years. As far as components and systems are said to be getting obsolete. So how should we address this problem? What kind of problems do we face?
はい、ありがとうございます。そうですね、老朽化という観点でいきますと、どうしても20年も運用していると、そういうところに目が行きがちだと思うんですけど。
Well, in terms of getting obsolete, we tend to look at that aspect because the station has been in operation for 20 years, but it's also the fact that such obsolete systems are being replaced and upgraded. I said that we are enjoying the very good internet environment. It's getting faster, high speed. That's one good example of how the environment in the station is getting close to the environment on the Earth. For example, in case of EVA, we installed a new solar panel. So in this way, the entire station is being upgraded and reinforced. So rather than saying it's getting old, we are incorporating new systems, and we should say the station is evolving.
Thank you very much. Lastly, I would like to ask Mr. Hoshide to say a few words to us.
はい、ありがとうございます。今回6ヶ月の滞在を通してですね、3回目の
Thank you very much. So I had opportunity to stay on ISS for 6 months, and this was my third mission to ISS, and I had a great colleague to do the work up here. And we had conducted various experiments, sciences, and those are
ふうに確信しています。
to be
それから、そう
contributing to the groundwork,
行く準備
I believe. And also in the near future, we will be going to Moon and Mars. And so there has been some work in preparation for that exploration. Next year, we are going to have Mr. Wakata to come up. And then after that, Mr. Furukawa is going to come to the International Space Station. So please continue to support us. And we are also recruiting new class of astronauts. So
いただきたいなというふうに
please
ここ
a challenge to this recruitment to be our members. Because here at the moon, the limit is the sky or the space. So whenever I come up, I always feel that way. So I'm looking forward to have more colleagues joining to us. So today, on the ground, there's still a pandemic situation. But thank you very much for your interest to us. Thank you very much. Mr. Hoshide, thank you very much. So with this, we would like to finish this press conference, and I hope that we will enjoy the remaining stay at the International Space Station. Thank you very much.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.